Hey guys, this is the Disney Dude, and today I am back with another review. So today it's not just one thing, but today I am reviewing a whole land, as because of last Sunday I went to Hollywood Studios and went to Toy Story Land. And let me tell you, it was fantastic. The theming all around was just fantastic. There wasn't many trees because the theming of the land is that Andy built this little land in his backyard, and so if it's in his backyard, and they would need to make some very big trees. So there wasn't many trees, but there was very tall grass. There was a lot of tall grass, and some other plants, but mostly just tall grass and stuff like that. But the theming was just fantastic. All the storylines were amazing, and let me get to the rides in just a second, but you just need to take a moment when you're there to think about all this theming. Like in the ground, there's some dark spots in the shape of a kid's shoe, of a kid's footprint, a shoe print in the ground, and I just thought that was really cool. And then there's all the theming and the attractions and everything, and it's just fantastic. If you ever get a chance to go to Hollywood Studios, check in, say hi to Woody, Buzz, and Jesse. They're all there. But also, I also ran into a Green Army Man while I was there. They have a walk around Green Army Man, and he was really cool. And on your birthday, I was going for someone's birthday, but it was just fantastic. And they, instead of saying happy birthday, they say happy unboxing day. Because you're all supposed to be the size of a toy, they said happy unboxing day instead of happy birthday. So I thought that was really cool as well. But let me get to the attractions. Now, the big elephant in the room is Slinky Dog Dash, but I'll save that for last. So let's start off with Toy Story Mania. First of all, the first change is that it's no longer called Toy Story Midway Mania, because anybody ever cared about that. I always just called it Toy Story Mania. But they've just kept the name from Toy Story Midway Mania to just Toy Story Mania, which isn't a big difference because that's all I've ever called it, ever. And they had this new entrance queue, a new exit, and it was really cool. The Mr. Potato Head animatronic is back. The Mr. Potato Head animatronic is back, and he is up and running. Unfortunately, when I was there, it was getting closer to closing time, and there was very little line for the ride, so I wasn't able to see Mr. Potato Head, which I was really kind of disappointed about. But I did see him. The animatronic wasn't running, but I did see the animatronic. He was actually behind a curtain for some reason. Kind of like Midway curtain, kind of. Like on a boardwalk or something. Kind of like the style in DCA, Disney's California Adventure. Kind of that kind of style. But again, it's not a Midway. It's just Toy Story Mania. They cut that out. But yeah, the whole queue was amazing. What surprised me the most out of the Toy Story Mania queue was the fact that they hadn't blocked off the whole old queue before they opened it. Like, it was completely open, and say there was no one around and it was just you around, you could have definitely hopped over the lines and seen the old queue. They hadn't blocked it off with that, which I thought was really weird. They might use it for cast member space or something like that. But the theming was really cool. That's probably like the only thing I would get down on Disney for is that. But other than that, the theming in the new Toy Story Mania queue was amazing. But Ride remained unchanged for the most part. Actually, yeah, there was no changes. It was just completely the same. But on to the next ride, which was the Alien Swirling Saucers. This ride is just pretty much a basically Mater's Junkyard Jam in DCA, Disney's California Adventure. If you don't know what that is, it's a ride where you're in a tractor. You're in one of those tractors from Cars, and it's kind of like the teacups, but instead of going around in a circle, they just swing you around. But instead of it being a tractor, because it wasn't Cars Land, it was an alien, one of the green aliens, which I thought was really cool. But the queue was just really fantastic. It gave me some really big Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin vibes to it. It was very space themed. If you've ever been on the Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin, which most people have, if you haven't, it's very kind of an animated kind of space look, but I was getting a lot of vibes from that, and it was just, the queue was really good, nothing really spectacular, but it was a good queue. Nothing much interactive or anything. Actually, in Toy Story Land, there wasn't much interactive stuff at all, besides, like, the rides and the walk-around characters and stuff like that, but the queues weren't that interactive. But the ride was good. It was a bit slower than I would have liked it to be. It was still a good ride, but it wasn't as fast as I would have liked it to be. It was kind of slow, and it didn't last long. So I wouldn't wait, personally, more than 30 minutes, which was the amount that I waited for it, but it's definitely an attraction to check out if you ever get the chance. Next up, we have the Slinky Dog Dash, which is obviously the highlight of Toy Story Land. Now, the Slinky Dog Dash coaster, the footprint of the actual coaster itself takes up a big part of Toy Story Land. There's still a bunch of space, but it just takes up a big footprint, and it's just a really big coaster. Now, we waited about maybe hour and a half, maybe, but it was definitely worth the wait. Along with Pandora, I waited about maybe 2 hours for Flight of Passage, and with these really star attractions of lands, they really hit them out of the park. Like, there's always, like, a second kind of mediocre attraction to a land. Not saying that Disney doesn't always do good on their attractions, which actually, they don't always do that. I actually might make a video about times that Disney made some really bad attractions in the future, but don't count on it, really, because ideas just, like, go over my head, just like that. But usually, whenever they have a new land, they'll have, like, one all-star attraction, and then, like, maybe one or two mediocre attractions in the land, such as with Toy Story Land, there was the Alien Swirling Saucers. But the real highlight of this land was Slinky Dog Dash, and let me tell you, it was fantastic. If you don't want to wait in a line, I would get there at rope drop, or I would get there right when the park opens, because unless you want to wait in a really long line, you're not gonna ride it. That's just it. But you may take one look at it and say, oh my gosh, this is a kid's roller coaster. But when you actually get on the ride, it is not a kid's coaster at all. It's more a family-oriented coaster, but it's not a kid's coaster in the slightest. It's very, It's very fast, in some parts, and it's very thrilling. Not the most extreme coaster you will ever ride. You can find that at Rock and Roller Coaster. But it is a really good coaster, and it is definitely not a kid's coaster. But one thing that you definitely have to pay attention to, especially if you're waiting in a long line, is the queue. Because the queue is very elaborate and very themed, and it was just really good. Not good, it was fantastic. I keep saying fantastic, but that's all I can say. I'm pretty much speechless at this land. It's just awesome. Looking for another word other than fantastic, because I keep using fantastic, which I just used it twice now. But it was a awesome queue. Like, they even have a story all planned out, and it's just really good. Like, the queue is just, or the story of the attraction is that Andy has this roller coaster set, and he decides to put the Slinky coils on the roller coaster cars, and in the queue he has the box for the roller coaster, and there's tracks, a bunch of tracks laying around everywhere, and there's instruction manuals and a bunch of really cool stuff. But if you are going to be waiting in a line, you really should pay attention to the theming. Look around every once in a while and take a look at the ceiling too. It's very elaborate and it's very themed. And if you really like theming, such as I do, in attractions, this is a really good one. The attraction itself is fantastic. It's actually the first Disney roller coaster to have two launch segments. Like, every Disney launch coaster before has had only one at the beginning, has had only one launch section at the beginning, but you have the launch section at the beginning, and then in the middle, you come to a complete stop, and then you go off and launch, and it's just really good. But another thing about it is that around that area where the queue ends and the station begins is right around where the old Earful Tower used to be in Disney's Hollywood Studios, which, if you don't know what the Earful Tower was, it was the big Mickey water tower in Hollywood Studios that they took away when they took away the Backlot Tour. But yeah, the land was awesome. If you ever get a chance, please go check it out. It is worth time and maybe a tiny bit of money. You're gonna need money at Disney. But it is worth time and the money to go spend some time in this land. I didn't get to check out any of the food options, though. The bathrooms were really interesting, though. Not much to say about them, but at least the facades were really good. But I didn't get to take a look at Woody's lunchbox that much, because it was at nighttime and we were just trying to squeeze as much as we could, so we didn't get to try any of the food offerings or anything. But I did hear that they have a Monte Cristo at Woody's Lunchbox, which is a fried sandwich, if you don't know. I don't know everything that's in a Monte Cristo, but I know that it's a fried sandwich, and it looks really good. But yeah, take the time. Go to Toy Story Land. It is fantastic. Again, I have to squeeze that word in. Fantastic. But if you like this video, leave a like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. And this has been the Disney Dude, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!